Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Phil Brilliant. It is simply brilliant. It is December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, and Christmas Eve's tomorrow night. So I have made a decision that I will not be doing Simply Brilliant on Christmas Day. So everyone will have to go on without me. Maybe I'll pick it up on Friday morning. I'll see what's happening, but hopefully it's a quiet time here in Tom's River, and there's no need really to do that. And I do want to wish, so I don't forget, everybody a very healthy, enjoyable, family-friendly um, Christmas. And I think it's important that we kind of regroup, we enjoy those around us, we get a perspective on life, and definitely think about moving towards a new year, as we will be 1 week away on Christmas Day from 2026. Just the way things work out in this beautiful calendar. Just going to talk about a couple things today. One, and I will tell you, I'm dragging a little. This second cup of coffee is hasn't completely kicked in yet. This time of year, I got to tell you, the hustle and bustle, the running around, the nonstop is just very stressful. I feel like I look a little blurry this morning, or maybe that's just my eyes. I was at last night. I have this core group of friends that, I would say I've been in the crib with. We've been together my entire life. These are friends from childhood, from the neighborhood I grew up in Franklin Township, just outside New Brunswick. Um, you know, my best friend Jeff and I been through thick and thin, and so just a lot of back and forth. So last night we always get together for different dinners. Last night we got together in New York City, at this place called Sparks, and it's a restaurant. I guess there was a mob hit there many years ago, and so we always make jokes about that. But excuse me, for them, they live in New York, Long Island, Connecticut, and Central Jersey. For me coming out, I have to add an extra hour on everything I do. So strolling in at 12:30 last night and back up at 5 o'clock this morning. I'm a little tired, but got a big day ahead. Got a lot of stuff I need to get done, and you know, keep on trucking, do what I got to do. And but just good to spend time with them. A lot of laughs. My face always hurts the day I come back, and I know there's people out there right now who says your face makes me hurt every day. So you're you're. I'm not even gonna get into it. Anyway, I want to hit upon two things this morning. Tom's River. We are just basically about a week plus away from new council. I'm hearing rumors that meeting will be January 1st reorganization. I believe at noon. Don't quote me on that. Just hearing some rumors out there, talking to some of the elected officials that will be taking office, and they're planning for that. Did have the opportunity this past Sunday. We at Congregation B'nai Israel had a nice candle lighting, and it was a very nice service, and everybody came together as a community. And actually, Councilman-elect Clinton Bradley from Ward 2, spent some time with us, and had his own little menorah, which was really cute, and talked to a lot of people. And I think you know the one thing I'm really hoping for in 2026 is we're going to see workers on council, because I think Coleman, O'Toole, Byrne. I think we're left with, what are we? Coleman, O'Toole, and Abear, who nobody really knows who he is. We don't expect a lot out of them because they're Roderick's puppets. But Sikosi and Nivison have already proven that they're workers. Bianchini is a lifetime worker, and Clinton Bradley, a recent Army vet, is a lifetime worker. So we're going to see some work get done. It was good to see people out in the community, and in a friendly environment. So I do like that. But there's a couple things that are up in the air. we still don't know a lot about what has happened or where the state might be on this Clifton um, Avenue Park. We know it's still shut down. We know the mayor had made a comment at the last council meeting that, it was your friends that reported that there was contamination there and the samples were all clean and we haven't seen anything yet. But keep in mind, by the way, with that project, it wasn't about whether samples were clean or not. It's about where's the asbestos? How was the asbestos handled by the public works employees who were not trained in asbestos? And how was it transported and disposed of at a landfill, which Roderick will tell you approves and accepts asbestos, though we've had some conflicting reports that they do not accept asbestos. So that's all to be determined. One of the things that I looked at was we knew that there were about 18 buildings removed from what employees at Public Works had said. So Clifton Avenue wasn't the only property. We've already seen from reports that there's two properties on Route 9 that Toms River Township took ownership of through eminent domain, the Gutman property and the Huppert property. Um, and all those buildings are gone. There's piles of soil there. I drove by the other day. There's a huge pile of tires. I'm not sure what's going on out there. And then there's the Cox Cro Horse Farm. It's had many different names through the years, but it's on Cox Cro and Oak Hollow or Oak Bottom, I think it's called, as you come around the curve from Old Freehold Road and it becomes Cox Cro. So I did an Oprah. I really apologize. I apologize for the yawning. I'm sorry. So I did an Oprah request, and I want to show you I'm going to run through this real quick just so you can see it because I think it's important. And I think it's always important to know that the information that I present, the information that's presented on Toms River Residents for Transparency or the Committee to Recall Daniel Rodrick is based upon fact. There is no fiction. There's nothing made up. And we go ahead and we do Oprah requests from the township, which is Open Public Records Act, and the township has to respond. And that gets us the information that we want because we want to know the truth and not the Roderick spin. I apologize. I keep looking and thinking I'm blurry. So if I am, I apologize. And so what do we have? And we're gonna do what I say I don't like doing, but we're gonna do it anyway. So when I get an Oprah request back, I get what I ask for. Sometimes you need to be afraid of getting what you ask for. So here we're looking at a report, and this is dated April 30th of 2025. This is done by ARH, which is, I guess they changed their name. And this is to John Mealy, who is the township attorney. So this is April 30th. And in the report, and this is a preliminary assessment. So we do preliminary assessments. So whether you know or not, I do environmental consulting. So I have pretty good knowledge of this. I've done it for the past 36 years, 37 years. And so this is a preliminary assessment, which is a basic report. There is no sampling. And when you do the preliminary assessment, you make recommendations, which would be part of a site investigation, which would be the next, the phase 2 aspect. So here you'll see it says the report outlines potential areas of concern. That's AOC that were identified during our site reconnaissance and historic research. Further investigations recommended on 7 of those 10 areas of concern. Additional information. So we're going to fast forward, and I apologize, don't get you too blurry here. And this is the Cox Cro, so we'll go through. I apologize when we go relatively fast, because we're not going to read this whole report, but it is available, and I'll make sure to get it out. And go through. Now, here's an interesting part. So this preliminary assessment does not include items that are beyond the scope of a standard New Jersey DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, preliminary assessment, which are sampling. There is nothing about asbestos identification or lead-based paint identification. Nothing about drinking water. It is strictly a cursory investigation and recommends additional work to be done. So why do I point that out? There's no asbestos investigation here. So I apologize. I'm going to go relatively fast as I page through this because I want to get to the conclusions. So here we go. Summary of the historic site environmental activities. Here's the 10 areas of concern that have been identified. Um, and there was a 2017 phase one. So this is the phase one report that was done and identified these 10 areas of concern. Okay, and you'll see potential fuel oil tank. And then the report, they did a phase two, and basically they investigated the fuel oil tank, the mounding and equipment storage area, the stained concrete, and the former agricultural area. And they go through and they took some samples. Um, area 10 was not investigated, and that's asbestos containing material. So let's keep going. Order of magnitude, don't worry about that. Evaluation. Now there's a site investment that's current. Sorry, we're going to keep going. Interviews. So this is the conclusions that are presented to Toms River Township in this 2025 report. And it says the following potential AOCs were not identified and goes through what's not identified. And here are the 10 that were. The former underground storage tank area, it goes through septic system, hazardous storage area, and former agricultural use. Okay. And then it goes through and details all of the areas. Okay. And you'll see right here, further investigation of this area of concern is recommended. And this is the former heating oil tank area. Here's the basement sump. Okay. It's our professional opinion, no further investigations warranted. Here's the dry well. Okay. The potential further investigations recommended. So you go through the report and it's saying yes, further, no further. Okay. And you go through, fill material. Okay. Further investigation of this area. So this fill material on the property that needs to be investigated. Keep going through hazardous material on the property. Okay. Furthermore, with the planned demolition of all buildings, it is recommended the concrete be characterized and sampled in accordance with DEP guidance and regulations. There's nothing in this file presented that gives us that information. Okay, and we go through. Here's electric transformer, potential agricultural use on the property. They say no further investigation warranted. Unknown geophysical, it says due to the unknown nature of the anomalous, further investigation is necessary. Conclusions. It goes through and it outlines what you should be doing. And again, remember, there is no asbestos investigation, no lead-based paint investigation, and there's areas of concern that are recommended. So why do I bring this up? Because here are Ocean County landfill tickets of loads brought to the Ocean County landfill from this specific site, September of 2025. This was provided to me by the township, so I'm assuming it's true and accurate. But there's no information about any of the sampling being done that was recommended. And if these buildings and if this debris was transported to landfill, did it have asbestos? The stained floor and the concrete, did they sample it? Did they report it properly? And this was all done once again by Public Works, who are not trained to handle asbestos, not trained to handle contaminated material. And it's a threat on their health, the public's health, and proper disposal may not have occurred. I'll have to do some additional investigation. But the last part, which I thought was interesting, is here is a conceptual design of Cox Cro Destination Park. Okay. I just want to blow up for a second here so you can see this is dated, if you see in the corner here, June of 2025. I don't remember asking for a park, but here it is. Here's Cox Cro. Here's White Hollow Oak. So here's a parking lot they're proposing. Here's pavilion picnic tables, benches, restrooms. This is a splash park area. Here's a playground. I mean, this was bought for open space by the township. So every bit of open space in Tom's River is now being converted to parks. And do you want to know why Mayor Rodrick is the recreation mayor? Because you get to put signs on these parks that says presented by Daniel Rodrick. And if you've gone lately to Silverton Park, Oak Park, which I call Castle Park, Skyview Park, they all have these brand new signs that say Mayor Daniel Rodrick and the council in 2025, even though the council is going to change in January, so you're going to go pay and change the sign again. It wasn't that the park was just built, but for some reason, when you have an ego like Daniel Rodrick, where you put your name on the side of vans that drive through town, you need signs throughout the town to put your name up. I don't have an ego like that. Yes, says simply brilliant on top, and yes, brilliant's my last name. I thought it was a good play on words. But man, oh man, you know, I think recreation is a great thing to have in town, but there are some properties that are just preserved to be open space. Why do you need to clear every tree in town? Why do you need to basically put your name everywhere all over town? Question for another day. Last but not least, I just wanted to hit real quick because there's a lot of rumors floating around in Tom's River, and I don't know the answers, but we're going to find out soon enough. If you remember, probably, let's say 3 to 4 months ago, uh, Daniel Rodrick came out and publicly said that he could save money if he moves the township's insurance outside of the Ocean County Joint Insurance Fund, which is where you get different municipalities come together and it's kind of like a co-op and you pool resources. And when you do that, you have a savings on uh, premium. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Um, and if you remember, Daniel Rodrick wants to give as much work as he can to Fairview Insurance because they funnel money to him in campaign contributions. Very clear as you look at the ELEC reports. He did that to the health insurance last year and says he saved millions. We haven't seen it yet, however, but he says he saved millions. So the our insurance policy is year to year, January 1st to December 31st. And I wanted to do some research, so I did this morning. You know, if he wants to leave the insurance and leave the Ocean County JIF, the council needs to approve that. I've gone back and looked. The council has not taken any votes to leave that. Now, this insurance covers workers' comp, general liability insurance. That's claims against the municipality, like lawsuits that we know we have plenty. Automobile liability, that's like the mayor driving to Irvington, New Jersey in the Toms River Township vehicle, driving on the shoulder, passing people. That's our liability insurance. Property insurance, all the properties that we have. Somebody falls in a park, that's the insurance that they have. Public employees liability, that's claims that might be made against elected or public officials, employee practices, that's like sexual harassment or inappropriate, wrongful type of employment actions, um, as well as environmental impairment. So, like if there's contamination that's known, the township can make a claim and have coverage over that. So, this is what this big pool is. And it's an annual premium year to year, and you get renewed, and you have a deductible. So there's rumors out there that he still wants to leave this, but there's nothing that I've seen that the council has taken action. So it's my interpretation, my understanding that there has been no specific vote. So January 1st, we should be renewed again. We'll see what happens. We'll have to play that out, and I'll continue to follow that. I have some Oprahs, and we'll see what I end up getting. Point that out because, again, this is the way Daniel Rodrick kind of makes sure to feed the people who feed him. And whether he gives them appointments in town, whether he gives them jobs in town, or he gives them contracts so they can continue to feed money into his funds for elections and campaigns, that's a win-win for him. So those are two things I wanted to cover this morning. Hopefully I was short and sweet, but I think I did talk a little too long. I'm not going to be back on Thursday morning. Everybody should have an enjoyable, you should sleep in, have an enjoyable Christmas with your family, and a friendly Christmas. No talking politics around the Christmas table. But if you do need any petitions, I can get them out to your family, especially if your college kids are home, and reach out to me. I wish you all a peaceful Christmas. And I'm Phil Brilliant, Simply Brilliant, and I will see you again soon.